So good. Yes. We came from Ohio and now we're here.
That's crazy.
Dayton. Yeah. Right up the road.
Right up the road.
Oh my goodness.
You met your neighbors.
Yeah. How long did you here for? 2 weeks.
What was the 2nd to the 3rd of May?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's very good.
Yeah, my mother lives in Elmina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's been there for about 25, 30 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as I'm approaching River of Last Bath, there is a couple that has already been through, and come to find out, we are from the same place, and we're here at the same time. It is very interesting how our ancestors are calling the children home, and we're all catching that call.
Yes.
Yeah, what is your name, Mom?
Lucy Gay Garen.
Lucy
Gay Garen.
Okay, I'm Selene Scott, better known as Mami Abina.
Asantewa.
Ashantewa.
Ashanti.
Asantoa.
Princess Warrior.
Well, is there any way I can get to know you in Cincinnati?
Yes, ma'am, of course. Let's exchange information.
Absolutely.
Do you see this? We are all the way in Ghana. From the same place, making connections.
Yes.
That is not a coincidence. That's divine connection.
Yes. And it's a very powerful connection.
Are you on WhatsApp?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You can look me up on WhatsApp or put my number on there. Okay. What is that?
It's where they push all the toxins through your body.
Oh, I
Strong
see.
healing.
Okay.
And then
I'd like to welcome you by saying AKWABAA to Assin Masso Ancestral Riverside. Say Medase.
Medase.
Yes. My name is Kwame Divine, and I shall be your guide here at the Assin Masso Slave Riverside, a place where the ancestors who were held in captivity in their chains and shackles had their last bath before they were sold to buyers to be taken to the dungeons, and eventually they were shipped out of this land to the New World. But before we embark on this journey, in the memories of the ancestors we lost a lot of them, walking from the hinterlands to get here, from here to the dungeons. Through the middle passage to the New World, a lot of our ancestors died. A lot more died on the plantations where they took them. You and I get to meet each other because of sacrifices that were put in place by the ancestors. I want us to take just 1 minute of our time to have a silent moment for the ancestors. After the 1 minute silence, I will say, may their souls rest in perfect peace. And we shall all respond by saying Ashe. Ashe is a Yoruba word that literally means so shall it be.
So shall it be.
So please, let's take a minute of silence. May the spirits of our lost ancestors rest in perfect peace. Ashe.
Ashe.
An awareness of our past is essential to the establishment of our personalities and our identities as Africans. That's a quote from Emperor Haile Selassie. From Marcus Gravey Jr., actually borrowed by Bob Marley. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery, none but ourselves can free our minds. From this land, among the people of Benin, Togo, and Ghana, we have this common African proverb stated: until the tales of the hunt is told by the lions, the hunt will always glorify the hunters. In actual context, all I'm trying to say today is that as Africans, we have been struggling to tell our own narratives. We have been struggling to put our history across, and it's not because we don't have them. We have absolutely everything it takes for us to tell our own history. But then systems tend to be fighting against our history being told. typical example, I use United States of America. In the United States of America, the African history is called critical race theory. And I've been asking myself ever since I heard the word critical race theory. I ask, what is it about the history of the Africans? What is it about us that is critically racial, that they think our history is critical race theory? Why don't they want us to teach our history in schools? Then it occurred to me that, look, for nearly 400 years, our ancestors were the ones in chains and shackles. For 3 reasons, they don't want us knowing our history. For nearly 400 years, they were kept in captivity. In chains and shackles, they were moved across oceans into a new world. They sacrificed themselves for their generations to go through the chains, and over again, they survived. After slave trade came to an end, they had to go through Jim Crow, lynching, segregation, and several other systems. They survived. Why did they survive all this? If they had to go through all this pain and agony, the ancestors were surviving because they wanted to leave something behind for us. They wanted to leave a legacy, a history that will empower us. You see, information, they say, is power. Once kept away from the people who are supposed to benefit from it, they are being rendered powerless. If you are kept away from the information of your ancestors, how then do you get empowerment?
I don't. I stay a slave.
You stay a slave mentally. And they cripple you. They push you to a corner, and then they tell you what it is, but not what it was.
Yes, and they continue to give the narrative that they want us to have. And they push that narrative throughout the whole world.
Our people say you need to know where you are from to know where you are heading to.
That's right.
As our ancestors were from the African continent, kept captives in chains and shackles, were sent into this new world. Brothers and sisters who want to know about them more. That way they become aware of who they are. They are past, and they will know where their ancestors wanted them to be. But then they don't want that for us, so they will keep us in the dark. Then they will tell the stories to us in a way that will benefit them, not us.
Right.
Secondly, we live in a society that is full of their influences. If I get to know my history and I teach my brothers and sisters, the little ones, the moment you teach them something new, they want all around them to be on the same page. So they pick the topic, they go to school, then they start talking about it. If you are a teacher and these kids ask you if you know this and you said no, the entire class is one. They will teach the class now. Because they sit down and they talk about it. They go to the cafeteria, they talk about it. They said the walls have ears. Friends and relatives all around, those guys who don't know this topic will take it up. Especially for the communities whose ancestors have been fighting against our history being told. They will pick the topic up. When they go home, they are going to ask their parents, Mom, Dad, can you tell me more about it? My friends were talking about it in school. Can you elaborate it on it for me? But then their parents are telling us 400 years is a long time. That part of the history is gone. We should focus on the future and then move on. But then do you think they will teach their children anything about the topic that we are about to treat? No.
You can't
They will,
move on if you don't know
where you're coming from. So then they told the children that, oh, it happened a long time ago. So it's a word. Kemet. The word means land of humanity, mother of all creation. Others call it the Garden of Eden. Based on the fact that Africa or the continent is rich in natural resources all over us. Our people lived here for centuries. It got to a point they had to fight among each other. For territorial expansions, they had victims of wars. The victims, though, were never enslaved into chains and shackles. Rather, they were inducted into various cultures. They practiced the system called indentured service, which was not shackles. There was nothing like chains or shackles all over there. It was freedom given to the people. They practiced the system so that they can be one and then create a bigger territory. But then it got to a point when the Europeans started sailing across oceans nearer to the year 1400. They made their very first contact with the continent. First thing they did was to change the name from AKWABAA to Africa. The word Africa was derived from a Latin word called Africa. The word means sunny. From the Greek word Afrik, spelled A-P-H-R-I-K-E, that word means a land without cold. When they got here, we were under the sun. Our people were glowing because of the melanin they have. Many griots believe the actual true meaning of the word Africa is the children or the people of the sun. We are blessed with the melanin. that allows us to absorb the energy and we play with it. And so whatever they saw, they named the land after it. 1471, led by Prince Henry, the navigator, the Portuguese got to these coastal zones. They decided to pick the gold along our coast. They saw it in abundance, so they were picking them. Then they went further on to name the land after it. The name given to this land was Gold Coast. They went to Togo, and Elmina, 1482, was built and completed. It was basically for trading gold, ivory, pepper, spices. But then it got to a point that castle served as a dungeon for enslaving people. Look at it from this direction. In this scenario, I am here to trade, and I'm more like, let's say, I'm an ambassador, or maybe I own the company that produces these shirts. And I came to this community, I need a land to build a factory. And I'm giving the land to build a factory. Would I spend a portion of the land in building prisons? Or I will build a factory that will accommodate a lot of people. A factory that will accommodate a lot of people, right? The people were given a land to build their very first fortress for the trade in gold, ivory, and pepper. They built dungeons. What are dungeons for?
To hold people.
To hold
against
people
their will.
against the world. And at that time, slavery hasn't even started.
They had a motive.
Thank you.
They knew
So
what
for a
they were
couple of
doing.
decades, they knew what they were doing. But then we didn't. So we freely gave them whatever they need. For a couple of decades here, they traded with our people. Gold, ivory, pepper, spices. Then they were paying our ancestors with tobacco, whiskey, mirror, schnapps. Things that I always say we never needed. But that was what they were giving our ancestors. For a couple of decades, nearer to the year 1500. In 1492, the Europeans have now reached the West Indies, which is now the Caribbean. Went further on to the Americas. Around Massachusetts and its environs, they formed the New England. Used the natives of those lands on plantations, but they were not doing war. That was when one of their people, called Bartolomeo de las Casas, a Spanish, Portuguese, Roman Catholic priest, came up with a suggestion that looking at the African men and women across the ocean, there they are very strong, a lot more stronger than the natives of the land, America. Let's go to Africa, get them to come and help us on their plantations. So they sailed across ocean. Came here. Among the first group of people who came here was Don Diego de Azambuja. They came here and they had to fight their way through. When they met Prince Henry, they told them the idea. Prince Henry also had already been here, moving gold and ivories out of this land. But then when the message came to him, I was expecting his ships, the ships he came here with, to be reconstructed. But those ships were never reconstructed. And so it raised an alarm in the classroom. I fired. Okay, so before we take the walk, I'll add this to your outfit.
Okay.
Yeah, you already know the name? Nyenya.
Nyenya.
Nyenya. Nyenya is, in English, it's called serasi.
Serasi.
Serasi. Yeah, the bitter melon or
Bitter melon.
bitter melon. This is it. We drink it, we take it as tea to flush the toxins of our system. And also, when we use it around our skin, it has its own spiritual protection. So when you see chiefs wrap with this all over their necks, it is to keep them away from the bad energies that they will be encountering on their way to wherever they are going to. In gatherings, they use it. I mean, in my car, I hang it right there at the rear view mirror. So he can protect me from whatever bad energy somebody has. Right here, we are not alone. We want to keep us and the ancestors together. No other energy needs to come between us. So then we use this to move away all these negative energies before we take the walk to the river, where we will pay our respect to them. And that's what I'm going to ask. All right? And for the clay, just to mark you, to get you identified by the spirits that flew, the spirits that are flying around, moving around this place, need to locate you in the midst of all these people and these chaos. You see, markings were used during the Passover for a reason. Our ancestors used clays and then these markings since time immemorial, before even Christ was born and all this. They use it to identify, to get the spirit to locate people. Today we are on this sacred ground. Your ancestors have gone through this and they are still here with us. For them, they will be willing to welcome you and grant you that which brought you here. And so I will just mark you with these two, so that whenever they come to you, they know that this is their daughter who has returned to pay them a respect, or to pay her respect. Yeah, I didn't want to do too much on you, just to keep the other one for you. So we shall take a walk to the river where the ancestors had their last ever bath. The last place is here. That's the only no other place. In Ghana, we have the last bath, two different baths. The town in Atoko, in the Volta region, was also used, and this place. But these had the face, this was the renowned one because of its nearness to the castle.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's why most people come to this place. So from here, we shall leave our shoes and then walk without them. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm taking my shoes off. It's time to go on the journey.
So the journey requires that we take our shoes off just to allow our ancestors access to the land. We share the same DNAs with our ancestors. Visiting this land, it is ideal that on the motherland we get our feet dirty or we get our feet in the dirt. That allows the DNA to connect with the soil and allow the ancestors to get in touch with their own ancestral land. Getting connected with the land allows them to feel it and then feel at home. You are also being welcomed. The land embraces your feet and welcomes you back. You see, science has its way of proving the ancestors right. When the people came into this land, our ancestors were not in shoes. They walked without shoes, and they called them uncivilized. But then you and I are here today, and we are walking without shoes. Doctors will tell you that if you walk without the shoes, you get to absorb the energy from the earth. So why didn't they tell this or understand this way back in time when they met our ancestors? Why did they call them uncivilized? Now that they have studied it to understand it, they are telling us that it is good for us to do this. Why? Why did they always get? Is it that they always try to get us away from our own ancestral practices and then force their own? We are going to take a walk to the river. And there is only one question that I want you to ask yourself. The question has always been, had it not been that the ancestors have survived the journey across oceans, 6,000 miles away from this land, where would we be? If the ancestors hadn't survived this journey, where do you think we would be? We wouldn't be here. And now that we have achieved a lot for ourselves. What is it that you are appreciative of? What is it that if you meet your ancestors right now, coming in front of you openly, what are you going to say?
I am appreciative to my ancestors for the strength.
Hold it. When we get to the river and you are standing in there, then you can open up to them. But then I want you to think about it before we go. All that you would like to tell them. So that's why it's going to be a very solemn and a quiet walk to the river where they had their last bath. The path is wide now. That's why I can get to walk by your side for us both to go to the river. But then when they came here, they were never having it this way. It was a very close path. When they walked through, they got scratched. So then that's why we have to clear the path. Make it so clean for them to feel free to walk through. And that's why it is what it is. Now I'm going to be quiet for you to be in that moment. If you can meditate before we go to the river, feel free to do that. So this is us right here at the Ancestral River, also known as the last bar. The ancestors who were brought here were not allowed all of a sudden to go into the river. The people had to analyze the two sides of the river. We have two different rivers connecting with each other and flowing all the way into the ocean. There is a river that comes from this side of the mountain, and we call it the Nonkonsio, which literally means the Slaves River. Then the other one flows from a very far source called Ochimai, which we call the river Ochi River. Ochi means something that could grab you. So they never allowed their ancestors to go there because the captors were thinking the river will wash them away and they will lose their commodities. So they were kept in the non-conceal, which is a slave's river. The ancestors went in there with the chains and shackles all over them. A round metal ball was added to their ankles, preventing them from escaping. Whilst they were there, they couldn't do nothing. Trying to clean themselves, helping each other. If I get you clean whoever is closer to you. The captors saw them and they thought they were consoling each other. Or probably thinking of freeing themselves to escape. So they got them separated. After separations, they went ahead.
The mosquitoes are getting
Mm-hmm.
These are very silent species. They are very tiny things. They not kill them while on you. We just finish and go. That's when we kill the outside. As you do this, whatever you need to say, go ahead and then let it all out. Anything, why you washing your hands, things that you want to ask yourself to help you with to get the feel of. You want to feel how you get that.
Thank you for your sacrifice. May you guide my hands. Thank you for bringing me back to my ancestors. May I be able to hear what you are saying. And may I be able to see my path clearly. And may I be able to speak what you have given me to speak. Thank you, ancestors, for your sacrifice. Thank you for every strength that you have. And thank you for calling me back, for calling your daughter back out of here. I'm here. Thank you for my ancestors over here. Your daughter has returned. Your sacrifice was not in vain. I am here. And I'm here to continue the way, to tell the truth, to tell your story of your pain, your sacrifice, and your strength, and to make sure that our generations move forward. May you be with me, everything that I do, and prosper my way, as I honor you. Assin, 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 Assin. Assin.
Hello. Well,
When we go to construction, we're going to do the dungeons today. It's late. And then tomorrow we continue.
When you get to the top, you turn around, okay?
couldn't see it from me. I'm not sure.
Take photo here. Big West.
They have called me back, and I am here. And their struggles was not in vain.
Ashe.
Ashe.
So, the Bible itself is also a tool that was used against the mentally and physically. Of the Bible. Because if you look at it in James version,
That were taken away from the land, you're honoring them. Even though you're still here, you still honor those that were taken away, right? I think it's okay for native Ghanaians to honor.
Whenever you decide to come back, we are always there for you.
Okay, come back and we will bring more people.
Absolutely.
Yes. Medasi.
Mention it as all right.